Hi guys, so today I'm going to try out Spellbinders February 2023 Glimmer of the Month. It is the tulip border, as you can see, very well named there, and it does come with the magenta foil. They do say that colors may vary, but generally it will be magenta that you'll be receiving this month. So these items were sent free of charge from my review, and of course all opinions are my own, and any links I have in the description box will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. So thanks for using those when you can. We recently discussed, I think in my last video, actually I hadn't mentioned it in the total package unboxing, that Spellbinders has changed their windows for new subscribers for the month, and then what, you know, people who are already subscribers can do to change up their subscription before they are charged on the 5th. If you're just recurring, they'll just, you know, charge on the 5th, and then your kit will go out shortly thereafter. So now, between the 1st and the 5th, people who are already members can change their subscription in a way that they can cancel. I do not believe at this time right now that you can add on a new club until the 6th, when it's open for everybody to add on a club or to, you know, change it up that way. So definitely there's something, if you want to change, you're going to want to cancel whatever it is that you already have going, and then add back, or, you know, resubscribe basically on the 6th. So what I'm hoping, and I have no idea, is that they can make something in the future where when you go ahead and change out, if you're already a subscriber, that you can add on the new one without having to wait for the 6th. That way it's just more seamless, right? But we can all email and just let them know that, and hopefully that will be something that's possible. But for right now, again, it might change for March, I don't know, but for February right now, what you would do is cancel. And by the time you see this video, it might have already passed, so just that. And then if you're new, you can sign up from the 6th to the 27th of February. And get 10% off the site whenever you are a member, a current member. So there's that. I think I'm going to pair this guy up, the Glimmer, with the embossing folder of the month. This is the standard embossing folder of the month, and it's called Hydrangea Blooms, and it is beautiful with little mop heads. And so what I think I'm going to do is a background with this. I was just going to make a simple note card, like this is just on the card, and, you know, put our sentiment. But I think I will go ahead and die cut it, the edge, the border of that, and then pop it up on top of like a beautiful background. So very subtle is what I'm hoping for. So I think I'm going to do this on white paper, do this also on white paper, and then just have the pops of the magenta and possibly our sentiment or however. So what I'm going to do is grab some paper. Again, with foiling, the smoothest paper you have will do the best job. I know Spellbinders has some paper that is particularly what they call their foiling paper, so if you're interested in that, if I recall, I will link it in the description box. But I have my Glimmer here. It's generally always plugged in, I believe. Yep, so the lights came on. And we're just going to let it heat up till the platform is ready. So let me grab some paper in the meantime, and then we'll get to foiling. A2 size card base from the card kit. Again, A2 size is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I grabbed some paper that I believe to be very smooth. We will see. It's just some heavyweight paper. And we're going to cut that top part anyway, so I can see my cutting was a little funny there. What I'm going to do is just go ahead and put this guy down here, and I just cut it to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. We're going to cut the top off anyway, so it could have just been anything that would clear this, but I did just use the whole piece. And then I cut another one, same thing, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 with this guy. And I'm going to run it through with the standard embossing folder, and you know, however, well, I guess we can pop it this way. I was just going to put it in the other direction, but this is fine. And again, this is some really thick paper, so I'm sure it will emboss really nicely. And I'm just going to run this through with the standard embossing plate, which for the Platinum 6 is the standard one would be your basic plate. I'm going to speak on that. So for your standard plate, like if you have the old school standard plate, it's the plate, the paper in the folder, of course, and then another plate. And if you have the advanced system, it's the plate with B, right? So it's both of them, so it brings it back to the same level of just this plate, and then the paper folder, and then the other cutting plate. So I'll run this through and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so just ran that through real quick, and I will still need this because obviously we're going to be running our other items through, but look how pretty. Just beautiful, and both sides are gorgeous, so that's always the choice I make. I'm like, oh, you know what, maybe I'll use the other side. But I'll put this to the side right now. We'll have this guy and this guy, and then we'll have that little tulip border on top of that. Platform's still heating up, getting ready. And let me put this over here. In the meantime, what I will do is get our magenta foil ready. Oh, the platform just said it's ready, and by just said it's it lights up green when it's hot and ready. So what I'm going to do is cut a piece of foil just the size, clearing that area. Sorry. Just to not have overfoiling and things like that. And I usually try to measure on this side. So I'm going to find a spot. Actually, I'll use this side over here because I can see there's like a little gouge in there. And just cut this down so it's barely just clearing this plate, okay? So I'll be right back. And if you're gonna build this up on your Glimmer or your hot foil, whatever you're using, plate first, touching the surface, facing up. You would put your pretty foil with the silver side facing you, and then you would put your paper on top because that's gonna push this into the paper, and then you know, when you take it off, the pink is showing, right? I always like building mine up, I don't know why, down here. So I will place that there. It's just a habit I've gotten into, and that's what I do. So I'll place this on here, and then this guy, and actually I will probably hinge it, so I want to make sure I'm higher on the edge and on the end here. Excuse me, my goodness. I guess it doesn't have to be super on the end, but that's what I prefer. And then we want to hinge this, so I'm gonna hinge this probably in a little bit different way, because although I do want this in here, it does have to clear this top one, and that one's higher than this other little guy. So just kind of making sure that everything has foil under it, right? So see how the foil's not quite there, and I'll just bring this up just a little bit and bring this guy back down. And I'm going to do this totally different. I'm going to pick that up just so I know that this is pretty straight down here. There we go. That's all I need. And I put a little bit of washi just to help me flip this over. So I'm going to flip this over onto my surface. And I like putting the plates on it right now. I feel like it helps warm it up, but you know, do whatever you like. Some people like to put it on once it beeps that it's ready. Or, excuse me, this does not beep. My goodness, you guys. It'll flash until it's ready. So right now I'm gonna press timer, and I should have done that a couple seconds ago. We're gonna place this on here. And when the timer stops, I'm going to run this through the Platinum 6. So we'll take this whole thing out and run it through the Platinum 6, and that will be that. I'll be right back. So I'll go ahead and move that out. And bring over my Platinum 6 and just roll this through. And sorry. Oh, you know what? Oh no, I think my plate moved. Let's see what we got. Oh, wow. So my plate moved. I don't know if you noticed. And then I was like, well, maybe it'll still work. And I still ran it through, and it definitely still worked. I thought for sure it's going to overfoil or do something, you know, where it moved, but it did not. That is very interesting. Huh. I guess because the pressure is not there until you actually run it through. So that is awesome. Wonderful. I'm going to put this somewhere where the heat won't affect anything. And so what I'm going to do now is, like I said, it did move on me, so I'll probably just cut that down, and that's fine. And then we'll do the edge cutting. And then this guy, I'm just going to use gold for the sentiments, and maybe I'll run them both through, and then we'll choose whichever one we want to use. So same thing as we did before. Actually, let's replace this so it stays heating up. This gorgeous thing is like super perfect. Again, if you have any of those plates from Spellbinders where it's like a circle or like a flat oval or whatever that they had created for things like this, you can place it where you want it, heat it up, run it through, and then that image will be in like a oval form or whatever it is on your next project. So really cool tools. Okay, so I'll run through my sentiments and I'll be back. My plate is warming up again. I'm just going to trim off that bottom just because I missed that little bit. I mean, not the biggest deal, but I will trim it off. And then I'm going to place this here. And whenever I do this, obviously I'm eyeballing left and right, you know, seeing what my border might look like. When I tape this down, because you want to tape it down so it doesn't move, put the tape on this outer portion, not touching your foil, because you don't want your foil to get lifted off, right? So just tape it down out in this area, and I'll be right back. So I have my sentiments on here. I do have one up here and one down here. I like to keep them kind of separate so that they have their own room to, you know, get the foiling going. So I placed my die. We have that background one, so I'm going to just glue this down completely onto my card base. And then this guy, I think I'm going to pop it up, so I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of this, okay? When that's ready, I'll run it through and I'll be right back. I oriented them that way they get their space. Just because sometimes if you have too many plates next to each other, it'll bump over the one and then doesn't really catch the other one quite well enough. So I just like to give them their space, and that worked out really well. I'm going to erase that over foiling. I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. I have our card base again with that beautiful embossed background. And then this guy, I just put some larger dimensionals behind there strategically. And before I really push that down, I just want to make sure we're edge to edge. Turn it over and just give a squish from the back. And I just wanted to be very simple and just like standing out. How pretty is that? And I'm still going to use white paper even for my sentiment. So we have this guy, and like I said, I had a little overfoiling. Where did I thought I got my eraser out already, but I hadn't. So like this little bit, it might cut away with the die anyway, but I always like to show you guys that whenever you have foiling like that, you can definitely just come in and use an eraser and clean it up. So as well as you can do that, it just takes a little moment. So if I continue that, I can get that cleaned up pretty well. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the die to cut that away. So cut away the excess, and obviously that's the die. Again, just catching the plate and then the outer part, you don't want to lift up your foil. So I will run this guy through, and possibly also this other little guy. He's kind of on the smaller side as far as how it fits in here, but I'll be right back. I want to use the same large die to cut this little guy. Let me see if it cut. Oh, it did. Okay, I was gonna say it was almost the same size as the paper, and it is pretty centered. But what I figured for this one, and what you can also do is maybe put the die closer to your sentiment. Like let's say you had it out here, and that way it'll have a nice rounded edge. And then maybe this other side you cut it away, or you do a little something else that you would like. Like right now, I might just try and cut that as straight as I can. And then over here, that's a little bit long, so what I'm going to do is cut that, do a little bit of a notch in there, and then just make a little dovetail. Right? If you want to do something different, you can definitely do that. And you have a little dovetail in there. You know? And so we can use either one. So let me clean up a little bit and we will finish up our card. Different sentiments. And this one I made a little bit smaller, and we can pop it on there, you know, wherever it is that you'd like. With this guy. So I think I'm going to use the longer one, but what I did is I also ran through some gold paper, that same die. And so I think I'm going to drop shadow this just so it pops, because I already have the layer that's popped up. So for this one, I'm going to keep it flat, but I want to do something fun to make it, you know, stand out. So we'll just do that same strip. And then, you know, I always put things in the bottom right corner, and I was like, maybe today I'll put it over here. I can't do it, you guys. I gotta put it over here. So that's what I will do. And that is our card for today. Super quick. I mean, that takes up a lot of real estate. It's really lovely. And just gonna pop this on here as straight as I can get that. About there. I'll hold that down. I'll have some images for you guys. I'll have the links in the description box. And thank you so much, Spellbinders, for sending these items for review. And I will see you all at the next one. Bye now.